Hello viewers and welcome to yet another live-action commentated match of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. My name is Mitch and I am the Hive Tyrant. Today I'm pleased to present you with yet another live-action game courtesy of none other than Alexander Cimadon, who happens to be seated to the right having adopted the reins of Baharroth, our second Eldar faction warlord. To the left we see a gentleman by the name of Daniel Hollman, and he instead is going to be playing Ku'gath Plaguefather of the Chaos faction. Daniel happens to possess the initiative token, and it seems as though his initial deploy action is going to be a copy of the 2-cost signature army unit Ku'gath's Nurglings put out to the second planet. It's a little bit of a curious play. It's a 2-resource, 2-attack, 2-hit-point unit with 1 command, but the real power intrinsic to that unit is that it deals damage to units that move to that planet. Normally it's a little bit better saved till late in the game when many units are going to be moving alongside a Warlord 2 target planet, but considering that Alexander happens to be running a Baharroth deck, that's a lot of mobile keyword units in the deck, and in shifting from planet to planet, if they accrue a bunch of damage tokens, I'm sure that's very okay with Daniel there. But to Alexander's side of the table, we see the Tau attachment, the ambush platform interplay. That could mean free ion rifles for units like the Baharroth's Hawks, and we also see a Heretic Inventor played out to the left by Ku'gath, and it looks as though Daniel picks and chooses that very cheap, albeit very powerful, unit to be put out at our 5th planet, and Alexander puts into play a Warlock Destructor at planet number 1 himself. Nice little bit of pressure there, but assessing our opening layout of planets, planet number 1 is going to be Planum. It's basically allowing you to move non-Warlord units from planet to planet. Planet number 2, rather similarly, allows players to route units. It's Farron. Planet number 3, where we now see Daniel play a Chaos Fanatics, is going to be Elowith, which allows you to tutor the top 3 cards of your deck for any 1 card that you'd like, add that to your hand, put the remaining 2 cards on the bottom of your deck in whatever order you'd like. To the right, we see a Death from Above played by Alexander Cimadon, and that affords him the opportunity to put a Piranha Hunter into play for free at the very last planet. That's a unit with no command presence whatsoever. It has the mobile keyword, and as soon as it moves from planet to planet, he gets the ability to draw 1 card. We see a copy of Promotion affixed to that Piranha Hunters, and that's going to conveniently allow it 2 command icons to nicely trump the Heretic Inventor at planet number 5. Planet number 4 happens to be Karnath, the activate any other battle ability planet, so it could be tutoring cards, discarding cards, a routing unit, or moving unit. And planet number 5, last but not least, is going to be Barlas, the ever-popular random card discard planet. Both of our warlords have decided where they'd like to send themselves. Baharroth is going to go to planet number 3, which means he could threaten planet number 2 or 4 during combat in order to trigger Karnath if he doesn't want to try to kill off that Chaos Fanatics, and it looks as though Ku'gath is going to try to put the pressure on to that Warlock Destructor. Command is going to be 1 card, 1 resource to the left for Ku'gath. Planet number 2 is going to be 2 resources to Ku'gath. Planet number 3 is going to be 2 cards for Baharroth, and planet number 5 is going to be 2 additional cards for Baharroth. So it looks as though Alexander fared a little bit better in regard to that planet's combat phase begins, and we see the Piranha Hunter move to planet number 4. That's going to be an additional card for Alexander. So quite a few resources under normal circumstances invested in that Tau unit, but if you can keep it alive for a long period of time, it can certainly pay off in spades. It looks as though Baharroth is content to sit at planet number 1, and something kind of crappy at planet number 1 is Ku'gath actually has the initiative token, whereas that's normally a nice thing to see. Okay, so it looks as though we actually do see Baharroth move. Baharroth goes from planet number 3 to planet number 2, and then we see a copy of the signature event, Cry of the Wind, move Baharroth again to planet number 1. Anyway, under normal circumstances, Ku'gath wants to go second just because he has to take damage before his reaction can do anything. So it looks as though, yeah, Baharroth did his little double jump there, and Baharroth and the Warlock Destructor are going to be able to potentially deal out 5 points of damage each round. Ku'gath is going to be attacking first. All he can do is threaten for 1, and then he'll potentially take 5 damage in return. So Ku'gath, unless he's got something like a Fetid Haze, and I'm not seeing any resource tokens on that playmat for Ku'gath, that is not looking good for him. So it looks as though Ku'gath is probably going going to be forced to retreat. Whether he does an action or not, I'm not sure. Note that Baharroth acquired a point of damage from passing through planet number 2, where the Ku'gath's and Nurglings are, and it looks as though Baharroth has indeed taken an additional point of damage, and here we go. The ambush platform is dropped 4-0, a copy of the Ion Rifle into play, and that's going to be that Warlock Destructor, now a 6-4 unit that during the deploy phase you still have to pay a resource to keep it around. It's going to be showing up at the, well, future combat exhausted, which is what I would be saying if planet number 1 is not Planum, which can afford Alexander the opportunity to relocate that unit wherever he would like. So that is going to be an incredibly nasty little combination of effects. Note that Ku'gath only has a grand total of 7 hit points. That Warlock Destructor alone is attacking for 6. Baharroth could easily augment that by 2. At least, I believe that Baharroth is sitting at planet number 1. The planets are so close together, it's ever so slightly difficult to tell. But it seems as though that's going to be Ku'gath taking all of that damage straight to the nose, and now I can only imagine it's going to be Alexander. Okay, so I guess he did have some resource tokens. That is going to be a copy of Fetid Haze there, and that's going to be all 6 points of damage distributed amongst all the target army units at that planet. And so that's pretty nasty. Basically, the 6 damage is immediately healed. The Warlock Destructor can only be assigned up to 4 points of indirect damage because that's its number of HP. And we see a copy of the Shining Blade, Baharroth's signature attachment, discarded as a 3 shield card. So that Warlock Destructor only took 1 point of damage from that Fetid Haze. And that is a big bunch of resources down the drain for Ku'gath there, with not a whole hell of a lot to show for it. The end of the combat round has come. It's going to be up to Ku'gath to decide whether or not he wants to retreat first. If he does attack, he'll be potentially threatening a 1 attack value attack. He'll be able to move a damage onto that Warlock Destructor, but even without the benefit of shields, that still leaves that Warlock Destructor with 1 hit point, and then he'll be able to potentially swing back and hit Ku'gath for 6. It looks as though I saw at least 1 copy of Tzeentch's Firestorm, if not 2, in Ku'gath's hands, and it looks as though we do see the Tzeentch's Firestorm played. I'm not sure exactly how much damage that was for, but we see another copy of Death from Above played out as shields to prevent... Or maybe it was not. Okay, so it looks as though Alexander did not shield that attack, and instead that's going to be 2 points of damage thanks to the Tzeentch's Firestorm to the Warlock Destructor. So Ku'gath attacks. I'm sure he attacks Baharroth, and then his reaction triggers to move 1 point of damage to the Warlock Destructor. So the Destructor and the Ion Rifle are now gone, but that's going to be quite a few cards and resources that Ku'gath has invested into potentially winning the battle at this planet. And of course, Baharroth wisely retreats. Things start to look very difficult when you're in a one-on-one battle during Ku'gath. It's not that it doesn't matter what your attack value is, but a Baharroth with only 3 hit points remaining is not going to be able to best a Ku'gath with 3 points of damage. But Planum number 1 is going to be captured by Ku'gath. That affords him the opportunity to relocate any of these units. Looks as though he picks the Heretic Inventor, moving it from planet number 5 to planet number 4. In assessing a victory condition, looks like Ku'gath, Daniel, now has 1 green, 1 blue icon, and that means he could win as early as planet number 4, which is Karnath, if he picks up another blue icon at Eluith, our current planet number 3. So there's a little bit of movement going on here. Ku'gath's back in HQ. Baharroth has retreated back into the HQ. Where are these units going to go? So the Ku'gath's Nurglings was at planet number 2, and I suppose we're still deciding where exactly we'd like to see these units go via Planum. So the Heretic Inventor ends up at planet number 3, it would seem. What's interesting is that's going to be another planet where Ku'gath himself has initiative, so now he's got quite the formidable bit of a combat presence there, and looks as though we're entering our HQ phase. New 5th planet is going to be Taurus, which rewards players for keeping their unit count lower than that of their opponent and allowing you to draw 3 additional cards or generate 3 additional resources. Definitely not a bad thing to see. The unit count is currently lower for Baharroth. What's, again, nice about Baharroth's mobile keyword is he could potentially shift to, well, move to a planet like Barlas, planet number 4, and then move to either Karnath or Taurus as need be. He could also go to Karnath and threaten planet number 2 if it happens to work out for him, and then Karnath could well trigger Taurus if he ends up keeping his unit count so low. But the initiative token is now in Alexander's hands, and in addition to having that initiative token, he takes this opportunity to put into play a 1/2 ranged keyword Viorla Marksman at planet number 1. He's also got that ambush platform, so that means we could see gun drones, I believe. I don't think that they're loyal. We could also see ion rifles. We could even see a Banshee power sword if he decides to be absolutely crazy. But the marksman is now sitting there. Let's see what Ku'gath does. In regard to resources, it looks as though Alexander to the right next to his initiative token has 5, and for Ku'gath it is a bit of a mystery, but I'm thinking that off the playmat there he's got a grand total of 4. But he uses quite a few of those to put a copy of the Khorne Berserker into play, and this is interesting because it's further down the line than is his victory condition. We've got a basically 2/4 brutal unit there at planet number 4. We see another Death from Above played out by Cimadon, and that's going to be a copy of the signature army unit Baharroth's Hawks down at planet number 5. So far away, but that's traditionally a 3-cost unit, 2 command icons, no attack and 2 hit points, and it only gets an attack value when it's at a planet with your warlord, which at the moment can only ever be Baharroth, though I'm dead curious as to whether or not we'll ever see any warlords that allow using the signature units and cards of other squads. But that is currently sitting down there at Taurus winning command. We also see another mobile unit, the Vashia Trailblazer, sitting at planet number 4. As soon as we enter the combat phase, that Piranha Hunter at planet number 3 is going to mean another card for Alexander, so that's more shields, more combat opportunities, all sorts of different things there. So I believe it is Ku'gath's opportunity to play, although I believe he's passed. So both of our players are deciding where exactly they'd want to send their warlords. Baharroth is going to end up going to planet number 2, so he's going to be able to threaten planet number 1 and planet number 3. Ku'gath himself goes to Karnath, so Karnath is going to allow Ku'gath the opportunity to either do the unit count thing, or do a random card discard, or tutor cards, or, well, not route a unit, because Farron is going to be out of play by that point. But we are going to have battle at planet number 1. There's just that Ku'gath's Nurglings staring down that Viorla Marksman. The Viorla Marksman is not going to be able to kill the Nurglings, but the Nurglings are going to be able to kill the Marksman, unless, of course, we see that ambush platform do something devious. But in regard to command struggle breakdowns, planet number 1, neither player is going to win. Planet number 2 is going to be Baharroth drawing 2 cards. Planet number 3 is going to be 1 card, 1 resource for Ku'gath. Planet number 4 is going to be 2 cards to the right for Baharroth, and planet number 5 is going to be 1 card, 1 resource for Baharroth. Looks as though mobile occurs, and the Piranha Hunter means 1 card for Cimadon, and Baharroth goes to planet number 2. So he's going to be eliciting combat with the mighty Heretic Inventor, and we also see the Baharroth's Hawks shift up down the line to planet number 4, get it closer to combat, and it actually switches positions with the Vashia Trailblazer. So let's see here. We're going to see combat at planet number 1 without the assistance of ambush platform. Okay, so it looks as though Alexander just moved his Baharroth again. So I'm not sure if I missed something or... Okay, thank you. I thought I was going crazy. So we've got a Cry of the Wind, that signature attachment, which involves Baharroth moving to planet number 1. That's going to be another point of damage taken by Baharroth. Or perhaps Baharroth simply used his mobile... maybe I got a little bit lost, but whether Cry of the Wind was used as shields for the Nurglings or I missed something, I'm not quite sure. But the Viorla Marksman deals 1 point of damage to the Nurglings. Baharroth is quite conveniently going to clean up the mess of those Nurglings, and then that's going to likely be a battle won by Baharroth. There's no Infernal Gateway if Zarather were the Chaos player, so there's no, ambushing any Chaos units into play, and it looks as though Farron's battle ability triggered on the Khorne Berserker, so that's going to be bounced to the HQ exhausted, and that means that there's no longer going to be a battle taking place with that Heretic Inventor and Chaos Fanatics. So that's going to be both players having captured 1 planet. The Viorla Marksman and Baharroth are now going to bounce back to Alexander's hand, and that's going to be 1 red material icon for Alexander. He's potentially not going to be able to win until the very final planet here of the game, and same thing as I said before, if Ku'gath takes our soon-to-be planet number 1 and also takes our soon-to-be planet number 2, then that will be the game for him. But let's see how things are breaking down. We've got a battle at Karnath, and that's going to be the opportunity for our Chaos player to do the tutor cards, or a random card discard, or do Taurus. And in regard to unit count, looks as though Ku'gath has 4, and Alexander had 5, so I'm not sure exactly what battle ability our Chaos player opted to select. Perhaps it was resources, but in any case, headquarters phase, 2 cards, 4 resources for both players. We see our new planet number 5 is going to be Iridial, which affords players the opportunity to heal, expunge all the damage tokens off of one target unit. That could be valuable for Ku'gath. It could also be very valuable for Baharroth. Note that both of our players now have units in their HQ, so wherever it is exactly that they send their warlord, units are going to be showing up alongside and potentially damaged by copies of Ku'gath's Nurglings. Looks like a Fortress of Madness graces the tabletop to the left there. It's the somewhat community-maligned, faction-specific army unit resource cost reducer, so I think it costs maybe 1 resource to put into play, and then as soon as you play a unit of whatever faction, to the left it's Chaos, for instance, you exhaust that attachment and decrease the cost by 1, so it's definitely a bit of an investment, but if this game is going to be going very, very long, it could nevertheless pay off for Ku'gath. We see a copy of Baharroth's Hawks go to planet number 2, deployed by Alexander from his hand to planet number 2, and that's going to be another 2 command icon unit with a nice wide threat range there. Planet number 1, that Heretic Inventor, is quite a bit more formidable than whatever our Tau player has. That Piranha Hunter is only attacking for 2, it's only got 2 hit points, and the initiative token is in Ku'gath's hands if no Warlord goes to the first planet. But we could potentially see the Baharroth's Hawks at planet number 2 back up the Piranha Hunter, and then if Baharroth himself goes to planet number 1, that would be stealing the initiative. It could potentially be attacking for 3. But that's going to be a lot of units all invested in one planet. And we see another Khorne Berserker grace planet number 2 there, so that's going to be yet another powerful presence there. I think Baharroth kind of struggles to conjure up large amounts of attack power, and therefore those Khorne Berserkers are going to be great. Like, for instance, at planet number 3, during the next turn, we're going to have the initiative token in Alexander's hands, and if he has to be the one to hurt a brutal unit before it gets the opportunity to attack, that is definitely going to hurt those fragile little hawks, regardless as to how many shield cards Alexander may have in hand. But he put a copy of the Loyal Bealtan Guardians out to planet number 5. That's going to be able to potentially just 1 additional card for him, and quite a bit of, command suite established there for Alexander. I know I saw an Archon's Terror in our Chaos player's hand, which could make it almost trivial for him to capture the first planet. Baharroth himself is pretty wounded, but if Ku'gath goes to, say, planet number 5 or planet number 2 to try to block off Baharroth, it's going to be just very difficult to, try to block that battle ability. Maybe he could do it at one planet. Like if Ku'gath goes to planet number 5, he might be able to stop Baharroth from activating it. But if Baharroth can just win at 2, he can choose to trigger the battle ability of Iridial and then heal himself back up to full. But it's definitely going to be up to Baharroth to try to block off our Chaos player's victory condition. We've seen a Rogue Trader played out to planet number 1 by Ku'gath. We've got a copy of another Piranha Hunter put out to planet number 4 the traditional way by Alexander. And that's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of additional resources during combat, a lot of additional cards, but I mean, 3 resources for a 2/2 unit that doesn't have anything special about it is a pretty lofty expense, and as we can clearly see, that has depleted all of Baharroth's resources. We see a second copy of Promotion affixed to the Piranha Hunter at planet number 1, so very interesting there, but that alone is going to basically afford that one unit the chance to break even with the Chaos command icons present at that planet. So Ku'gath has 4, and that Piranha Hunter has an increased value to 4. But we are about to enter our command phase. It looks like our players have all but used up their resources. Ku'gath has still he still has a bit of a surplus, but he's picked up his command dial. Ku'gath is definitely probably going to want to go no further than planet number 3, just because if it were me, I'd want my Khorne Berserker there sitting at one of those planets. And it looks as though Baharroth is going to be able to put a ton of nasty pressure on planet number 2 because of those mobile keywords. And there you go. He actually, I suppose this is specifically just what I was expecting. Both players go to planet number 2, so that's going to be 2 Khorne Berserkers at planet number 2, but one of them is exhausted, and I'm sure we're going to see 2 copies of the Baharroth's Hawks, those mobile units, at planet number 2, and I imagine that Piranha Hunter is also going to be leaving planet number 1. But both players are going to break even at planet number 1 in regard to command. In planet number 2, that's going to be 1 card, 1 resource for Alexander. Note that both Piranha Hunters have moved, so that's going to be a convenient 2 additional cards for Alexander. The Baharroth's Hawks pile into planet number 2. Planet number 3, I believe there was a copy of Baharroth's Hawks there at the time, so that's going to be 2 cards for Alexander. Alexander also picks up a grand total of 2 cards and 1 resource from planet 4 and 5. So our Eldar players just kicking all kinds of economic ass during this game, and it looks as though we're about to see combat erupt at the first planet. It's going to be entirely uncontested. That's going to be the Heretic Inventor, Chaos Fanatics, and the Rogue Trader all sent packing to Daniel's HQ there, and that's going to be another blue icon, and that means that if Ku'gath wins at Karnath during our following turn, that is going to be the game for Daniel. So let's see what exactly he does. He's got the opportunity right now to pick any one card from the top 3 of his deck. Let's hope for his sake he comes across something decent. And then, of course, Alexander's not going to have the initiative during combat. Ku'gath is going to be able to attack for 1 and move 1 damage, so he could potentially kill off a Baharroth's Hawks each and every opportunity. So Alexander had better be holding a mitt full of shield cards just to hope to resist the onslaught of so many dangerous units. Really the only thing that kind of stinks for Ku'gath is he's only got 2 attacks going out relative to the what looks to be 4 for Baharroth, and if Alexander's holding something like an ion rifle, that could dramatically alter the outcome of combat, because we see Ku'gath exhaust, and that's immediately going to be dangerous. A little bit of a curious choice is that Ku'gath moves 1 point of damage off of him onto the Piranha Hunters. Without the arrows of Octagon, it's difficult to tell what exactly he is attacking, but we see a copy of ion rifle discarded by Alexander, which strikes me as a bit of an interesting choice. So that's not actually going to be able to augment any of his units. Note that Ku'gath does indeed have that copy of Archon's Terror. He's not used it yet. I suppose he's probably waiting to see if there's an attachment ambushed into play. And there it is. That's that 3rd copy of the ion rifle. That's going to be gracing those Baharroth's Hawks, and now is, the best time. There we go. Good man to the left there, Daniel D'Alexander. Anyways, Archon's Terror banishes the Baharroth's Hawks to the HQ, and now it's going to be Cimadon's opportunity to attack in return. He's got a 2-2, a 3-2. He's got a 1-2 that's exhausted, and he's got his 2-3 Warlord. So Baharroth's Hawks looks like they're trying to put all kinds of pressure on Ku'gath, hoping against hope that he probably doesn't have another Fetid Haze, or he doesn't. Well, he does have the resources for one. So it looks as though maybe Alexander changed his mind, and he's going to have the Piranha Hunter do the initial attacking there. So that's going to be 2 points of damage dealt onto Ku'gath. It looks as though at least a few cards in our Chaos player's hand. And what exactly are we going to see from Alexander? Something like Empower would probably not be played. Looks like a copy of Death from Above discarded as shields to block one of the points of damage dealt by that Khorne Berserker. So the Baharroth's Hawks are still alive. They're going to take a swing. Once again, it looks like at Ku'gath, and we see a copy of the Tzeentch's Firestorm discarded for shields. That's only going to be 1 point of damage dealt out to Ku'gath, and then Baharroth himself is also going to threaten 2 points of damage onto Ku'gath, and we see a second Tzeentch's Firestorm. If that would not have been a shield card, that would have been a bloodying for Ku'gath there. And there we go. We see a copy of Gift of Isha, and what is that going to be returning to play? Is that going to be a copy of Baharroth's Hawks? What is the topmo? Okay, the Warlock Destructor sits down, and there is a big, beefy Eldar badass to just wreck Ku'gath's face. So let's see if those 2 shield icon cards can hold up, and no, they cannot. Ku'gath is sent packing. Ku'gath is bloodied. He is banished to the HQ, and that normally expensive Warlock Destructor is going to be sitting there until the end of the combat round, dealing out 3 points of damage with its beefy 4 hit points. And now these 2 Khorne Berserkers, are they going to sit there and fight? What are they they going to do? I don't think they can realistically hope to overcome the just relentless onslaught of that Warlock Destructor among so many destructive Eldar units. No, it looks as though Daniel kind of claws those units into his HQ, and he has decided to retreat from the planet. There we go. Karnath targets planet number 5. That's Iridial. That means Baharroth drops back down to 0 damage. So, flawless victory there, I suppose you could say, for Alexander. So supremely well done, my good sir. And that means Baharroth bounces back to the HQ, and that's going to be the end of the combat round. We're going to see a new HQ phase. There's no new planet, but there is going to be 2 cards and 4 resources for both of these players. And things are getting a little bit sloppy there on Ku'gath's side of the table. Now I guess I know why they call it the Dirty Baker's Dozen. It's just so filthy, so unclean, so much disgust. Much infection. But in any case, HQ phase comes and goes. The initiative token is going to bounce. Looks like to the right there for Alexander. And we've still got to see some readying take place. So that Fortress of Madness is now readied. We've got to do our card draw and our resource tokens. And Ku'gath, all he has to do is currently win at Karnath in order to pull this out. Those Piranha Hunters only generate an additional card if they move from planet to planet. So unless Alexander moves the Piranha Hunter with 1 point of damage from planet number 1, he's not going to be able to generate an additional card. But if he does move that unit, it's going to be a little bit of a careful gamble between, is it worth the risk of foregoing the opportunity to potentially draw an additional card just to have another body there at the planet. What really stinks here for Ku'gath is he is now a 1/5 warlord with no ability. The initiative token does happen to be in, I believe, Alexander's hands. And now what really, really makes a problem here for Ku'gath is he's going to have to drop off a ton of units with his warlord. So wherever Ku'gath goes, he's going to bring a tremendous number of units with him. But because the initiative is in Alexander's hand, like let's say Ku'gath and Baharroth all go to planet number 1, I think all the ion rifles are gone from Alexander's deck at this point, but we could easily see like ambush platform, ion rifle on the Baharroth's Hawks. They attack during their first action. Ku'gath takes 6 points of damage. Ku'gath is killed. Game over. So things are looking quite a bit difficult here for Ku'gath. He's a warlord that is normally just a relentless powerhouse, but he serves to get so much weaker once he is bloodied. And this is definitely a bit of an uphill struggle, but this helps one whole hell of a lot. A vicious bloodletter sits down at planet number 1, and if that has the opportunity to attack, that is going to be Area Effect 3, which is going to almost annihilate everything Baharroth can bring to bear. Note that Baharroth did put out a copy of the Wild Rider Squadron to planet number 2. It's a 3/4 unit that can use a combat action to move to an adjacent planet, potentially after a devastating Area Effect 3 volley. But holy hell is that vicious bloodletter just posing an enormous threat to Baharroth. And if Ku'gath can manage to pull this out, if he can win at planet number 1, that is going to be the game. So he could go to planet number 1, he could drop off that tremendous number of units. He could then use his first combat action to run away with Ku'gath, hope that his units can, win it all for him. Looks like both players are going to be a little bit bold. They all decide to go to planet number 1. If Ku'gath dares to attack, he's all but certain to be destroyed. So we're going to do potentially our last command phase of the game here. That's going to be planet number 1 is 1 card, 1 resource for Baharroth. Planet number 2 is going to be 2 cards for Baharroth. Planet number 3 and planet number 4 are going to be a grand total of 2 cards, 1 resource for Baharroth there. So Alexander, once again, just a spectacular showing in regard to command. It's something like 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 resource tokens there to the left for Ku'gath, which he's definitely going to need going into battle. Something like a Fetid Haze would be just absolutely incredibly good for him to have. We see the Piranha Hunter from planet number 2 shift to planet number 1. That's going to be an additional card for Alexander. His deck is looking incredibly small right now, so it looks as though he has just pilfered through a tremendous amount of it. But we've got that ambush platform. We've got a ranged attacker at planet number 1. The Viorla Marksman is going to take a ping, a little bit of a pot shot for 1. What is it going to deal damage to? Is it going to be attacking the Vicious Bloodletter, or is it going to be attacking Ku'gath? If that Bloodletter can potentially get off an attack, that's going to be every single unit except for Baharroth killed. Note that without having allied with Dark Eldar, then Baharroth is not going to have anything like an Archon's Terror to get rid of this unit. Okay, it looks like he's going to go and deal that point of damage to the Vicious Bloodletter. It's still going to have 3 hit points left. What is that shield card? Is that a promotion? I cannot tell, but that's going to be 0 points of damage dealt out to the Vicious Bloodletter. Is this going to go to Ku'gath? We see the Baharroth's Hawks use the initiative. They're going to take a swing, and what exactly are they swinging at? This is such an incredibly close game, but what on earth can Alexander hope to do to try to prevent this? We see Ku'gath take some damage. He is struck by the Baharroth's Hawks, and oh my god, that's going to be 3 points of damage. We see the Vicious Bloodletter take a swing. That's going to be area effect 3. I think this is the first time in my entire Conquest career that I've seen something like this happen. But is that going to come back and punish Ku'gath because he's leaving himself exposed right now? Is Baharroth going to be able to finish the fight? How is this going to break down? Let's see those shield cards. That Piranha Hunter with 2 promotions is killed. The exhausted Baharroth's Hawks is outright destroyed. -2 hit points. The Hail version of Baharroth's Hawks is going to be taking a single point of damage. So let's see a 2 shield icon card. Looks as though it actually has still an affixed copy of Ion Rifle, but we saw a Doom at 1 point discarded as shields, and I believe perhaps a Gift of Isha also discarded as shields to keep that Baharroth's Hawks alive. So things are looking very, very dangerous here for both of our players. This could end in an instant. Is Baharroth going to have the opportunity to kill Ku'gath, or Slaaneish's Temptation discarded as shields means that Baharroth cannot beat Ku'gath, and there we see an Archon's Terror banish that Baharroth's Hawks from the planet. That means that, easily our player on the left could have retreated Ku'gath and then just proceeded to have the remainder of his forces absolutely serve to smash Baharroth until he is absolutely forced to that planet. So that would have been Karnath captured to the left by Ku'gath Plaguefather. So congratulations to Daniel Hollman for winning this game. Thank you so much to Alexander Cimadon for providing me with this footage, and just spectacular play by both of these players. Ku'gath Plaguefather and Baharroth are 2 personal favorite warlords of mine, so it's always fantastic to see them in action. But I'll just end this video by saying thank you so much for watching, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already, or if you are already subscribed, you're always encouraged to share this content, as the more likes, the more shares these videos receive, the more subscriptions my channel incurs. All of it helps me to increase my position in YouTube search rankings, and that just means more players are going to be exposed to Conquest, give the game a try, potentially buy into it, join our community, and of course, together we all continue to send the message to Fantasy Flight Games to continue to support and to develop for this fantastic product. If at any point you'd like to get in touch with me to have me record, spectate, and commentate matches of your own, or you'd like to send me footage to commentate, much like my good friend Alexander Cimadon does, I'd be absolutely honored and happy to talk to you. If at any point you feel so inclined to help support the Hive Tyrant, I'd also encourage you to check out my Patreon. But once again, thank you so much for watching, and as always, be sure to check back in again soon for ever more Conquest LCG content to come.